Picture this. A woman sits alone at a table. The camera is still, but then it tilts down. Underneath the table, we see a bomb. She doesn't know it's there, but we as the audience do. The camera tilts back up and follows her as she gets up and walks away. That camera move didn't just look cool. It changed everything. It gave the audience information, it created tension, it shifted the power dynamic. Camera movement isn't just about style, it's about storytelling. It shapes how a scene feels, how close we get to the character, and how much we know. It can pull us into a moment or hold us back to watch from a distance. But here's the golden rule. Camera movement must be motivated. If it isn't, then it doesn't belong. In this video, we'll unpack camera movement. Welcome back to That Media Prof. Now, let's look at the most common types of movement and their effect. Pans, moving from left to right or from right to left, these reframe or reveal new information, and they're often used to connect two subjects in the same space. Tilts, that's moving up or down, they reveal vertical space. They're good for introductions, reveals, or creating scale. A dolly or a push in or a pull out, these move a camera physically closer or further from the subject. They create emotional emphasis or detachment. Tracking, sometimes called trucking or side-to-side movement, moves with the subject. It builds energy and urgency. Crane or jib shots smoothly move the camera vertically or through space. These types of shots feel grand, graceful, or lyrical. Handheld shots feel raw, immediate, and intimate. They can be used in documentary, drama, or chaotic scenes. Everybody's thinking about Cloverfield right now. Steadicam or gimbal shots create stabilized movement that is smooth but mobile. These shots feel immersive, cinematic, and controlled. And zooms optically move us in or out. They are less natural than a dolly. They can feel artificial, stylized. They can also be used for comedic or dramatic effect, but I would be careful with them as they can really call attention to themselves. Now, each movement will shift the relationship between viewer and subject. Done well, a movement shapes how your audience connects with what they're seeing. So you might be wondering, how do you decide when to move the camera? Motivated movement generally comes from one of two places. First, the action motivates the movement. For example, if a character gets up from a chair and walks across the room, it makes sense to track with them. The movement is following the subject, and it maintains the audience's connection with the action and with the character. But here's a key detail. When the camera stops moving, the frame should contain new, meaningful information that reveals something in the story. A new composition, a new emotional beat, maybe a new story clue. The movement must lead us somewhere with new information. Second, the movement itself has perhaps a narrative purpose. Sometimes the camera reveals something before the character does. Let's revisit that slow tilt down to show the bomb under the table from earlier. It's something only the audience sees. That's a motivated movement because it adds dramatic irony. Then, as the character unknowingly sits at the table, or worse, gets up and walks away from the danger, we might follow them with a dolly move, or maybe a handheld move, or maybe a gimbal. The camera now has both story and emotional motivation. So next time you want to move the camera, ask yourself these questions. What emotion am I supporting? Whose perspective are we in? Does this movement reveal, connect, follow, or emphasize? If the movement doesn't do at least one of these things, it's probably just getting in the way, and I would choose to scrap it altogether. So plan your movement, rehearse it, use markers perhaps, and keep your movement speed consistent unless you're intentionally varying it. And make sure you understand the technical side too, whether it's tracking, rigging a gimbal, or using handheld to your advantage. Controlled movement gives your project polish. Motivated movement gives it meaning. In next week's video, which I'll link here if it's already live, we'll explore lighting, how shadows and highlights reveal character, mood, and depth. I'll see you there.